average ignorant American doing when they look at this? Do they have a clue what's going on here? And my mind tells me probably not. Okay, but that was number 3, the possibility of a civil war inside the United States as a result of the collapse. Now remember, folks, they are telling this to our congressional members, and there was a very few of them, who were shocked, horrified, furious, and concerned enough, which means they had conscience enough to leak this story. But listen to number 4, because this is what really, really disturbs me, folks. And as my listening audience knows, you know this has already happened to me, to my family, because my family no longer lives in this country. I'm not talking about my original biological family. Yes, they still live here, but I'm talking about my wife of 4 years that I married back in 2004, who we have had to extricate from this country. But here's one that's very, very serious. Number 4, the advance, and I emphasize advance, roundups of insurgent U.S. citizens that are likely to move against the government. Now, what does that mean? Likely to move against the government. How do they define move? Are they talking about taking up arms? I wonder. Are they talking about moving by vocalizing our dissent towards their policies? What specifically are they talking about when they say likely to move? And then, of course, number 5, it goes on to say the detention of those rounded up at the Rex 84 camps constructed throughout the United States. That's number 5. Number 6, the possibility of public retaliation against members of Congress for the collapses. Well, now let me... and I want to emphasize, if I were to move against the government for a collapse of our economy, for public retaliation against members of Congress for the collapse, I want to emphasize you know who would be in my sights for something like that? If I were, I'm not going to, folks, I want to clarify, but if I were, Nancy Pelosi would be right there on the top, because I remember her campaigning for her position, her congressional seat back in early 2006, talking about George Bush. He needs to be impeached. We need to stop this Iraq war. And once she got elected, all that was off the table. And yet we've had the one, Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who's put forth these impeachment articles both towards Cheney and Bush, and Nancy Pelosi has swept him under the rug. Can you say bought off and compromised? I can. Let's see, that was number 6, I believe. Okay. The location. Now they are telling our Congress critters about the location of safe facilities for members of Congress and their families to reside during this massive civil unrest. So they're giving them a place to go. They're telling them that there's going to be the possibility of public retaliation against members of Congress for the collapses, and they're giving them the location of safe facilities for members of Congress and their families to reside during this massive civil unrest. And of course, then they go on to tell them the necessary and unavoidable merger of the United States with Canada and Mexico, establishing the North American Union.
All right, hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. As we begin tonight, I want you to take a look at some video, which really goes right to the heart of the matter here. This woman's talking to one of our correspondents. She's wondering why her bank suddenly has shut down. When she realizes one of its doors may have opened, there's a commotion. She runs off in the middle of the interview. Now, what we're talking about tonight may end up being one of the biggest bank failures in U.S. history.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
This is the end for you, my master.